I had to restart the stream. I don't know what I don't know what happened to the first one. Click to go live, and it just loaded up saying it was preparing to go live the whole time. So I just started another one. No Yokomos, because I don't need that kind of negativity around here. Is that the volume? No, I don't know if that's the volume. Can you hear me all right? Is it pretty good? You got this row of dots at the bottom. I'm not sure if that's like a volume thing or not to make me louder. Now, I had an H70C a while ago. Jay had given me, so after the first vintage Nats in 08, four-wheel drive was kind of light, and his four-wheel drive was always kind of a little on the light side. He's like, we gotta bulk this class up. So he sent me a kind of a basket case 870C, and I restored it to race in the 2009 race. But I was having all kinds of health problems and stuff at that point, and I didn't get to another vintage Nats until 2014. 2014, I went. I didn't race. I just like went up on a Saturday, and then 2015 I raced. 2016 I missed. My wife had back surgery, and then I haven't missed one since then. Or I've been to all of them. There was a couple of times I thought about getting another one, but it just never happened. Parts were always such a bitch to find for them. I mean, it's even easier nowadays, but yeah. A lot of stuff, it's like, yeah, it'd be cool to have, but I'll basically lose interest in it, and so now I got so much two-wheel drive and stadium truck stuff. It's like, I did think about getting one, and not for off-road though. I thought about making a dirt oval car out of it, an older style, late model body with the sideboard and stuff on it. So it looked kind of like a Dominator, like Customworks Dominator. That's what I thought about doing with one of the re-releases. I might still do that. Strange Lanes has one that it's on sale because the box is damaged, and it's pretty decent size discount. I don't remember exactly what it's at. It's like $350 maybe for I don't know. I guess it's the 870. I don't know why he's done. Whatever, same thing. Um, but yeah, I typically lose. Well, my thing is I only got so much money, so I can't just. And a lot of times you're looking for specific stuff, and like there was one car, I waited 4 years to get a pair of tires for it. The tires that I wanted took 4 years to find them. You know, so a lot can happen in 4 years. You're just like, screw this, I don't need this car, that kind of shit. But that's really what a lot of stuff of mine is. You just it takes a while to build them, and they sit around, and then you just start getting interest in other things, and then stuff just sits. Well, 4 years is a while to wait for a pair of tires, because there was a lot of times like I had that the hell was it? The Trax Seagull. I got one new in box, and I can't remember his name anymore, but there was a truck race, I think in Texas, and it was like Trax's like their first big win. I think it was like a roar race or something like that. And I wish I could remember his name. But anyway, I was gonna do a replica of his truck, but I needed those JG stagger rid front tires, and I don't remember what was on the back. And I had the back, and I waited forever to find a new pair of fronts. And no, it wasn't him. I can't remember what his name was. Gary something. Gary Owens? Gary Owens is ringing a bell for something. And I think that's who it was. Yeah, there was only like one kind of. There was a picture of him in a magazine. He was just holding the truck, and it was like kind of holding it, like kind of like this, right? And he's standing off to the side, so all you could see is the top color and some of the stickers that were on the top. You couldn't see it down the sides or anything like that. And to know what electronics and everything were in it, but it took forever, and I never found. I think I had that truck at least 5-6 years, and I never painted the body because I was hoping other pictures would come along, and they never did. And somebody wanted it, so I sold it. And then, like 2 months after I sold it, a brand new pair of front tires came along. So what are you gonna do? Shit like that. But I have, like that one Masami car. I'll eventually do a video on that one. I started that in like 06, and it ain't done. But there's a big thing. The biggest reason for that one is I ended up using all the shock rod ends because he used Yokomo rod ends on it. And I had 3 pictures to go by. One, it was on the track. Actually, 2 pictures to go by. One was on the track with the body on, and he's driving it. And the other one was like a straight top-down shot. And it was pretty clear, but not perfect. But it looked like that they were just associated shock rod ends, and then everything was dyed red. So I pulled like all the red shock rod ends I had, dyed everything red, put them on, and like all the electronics and stuff are in it. The FET servo, CX3, the 285A receiver, the Reedy mod in it. I mean, for the most part, even that one is almost completely done. And then I had asked with Facebook, it helps out a lot because you can get in touch with people that, unless they were members on the forum, you weren't going to get a hold of them. Or if you didn't know someone that knew them, you weren't going to get a hold of them. And I got a hold of Masami. I got his email and stuff, and me and him were kind of going back and forth. And that, I guess I don't have the kit I ordered isn't here yet, but on the 89 Stealth kit, I know there's a picture of, I don't know, it's on the back, the bottom side of him standing there in that big picture with all his cars and trophies and stuff. He still has that car because he won. He kept like all his winning cars. So you can see the car down in the one corner. And so I messaged him. I said, hey, is there any chance I could get some better pictures of this car? And a couple of days later, he got back to me. He's like, yeah, no problem. But he was out. He's traveling somewhere at the time. And so he said, when he gets back, he'll take the car out and take some pictures for me. So it was like maybe a month or so later. And all of a sudden, I get all these pictures in my email. And it ended up being the wrong car. But the car, it shared a lot of similarities to this other one, the one that I was actually replicating. And kind of the same deal where it had all these Yokomo rod ends and stuff. And, early 2010s, 2011, 2012, 2013, those friggin' Yokomo rod ends were expensive as hell. And I couldn't bring myself to buy them and then dye them all red. I just couldn't do it. So I just let the car sit there. And now I could do it. I could use the re-release ones. But I'm just not super into finishing it. It's like I just got other stuff that I'm more interested in now. So some of this stuff just sits. And the other thing with me is if I finish something, then what? It's done. Unless I'm going to use it, it's done. So it's like I don't really like having shelf queens. I got rid of a lot of my cars that were like done that were just going to sit on a shelf or whatever. But I'll build a new 2-wheel drive car for every vintage Nats, and I'll race it, and basically as it comes off the track, it just stays like that. So it's like the new cars I build for the race become my shelf queens, and at least I have some kind of an attachment to it. It wasn't just something I built. So speaking of that, I got to finish up the one for this year. But I only had like one gas truck, and it kind of ran like shit when I had it. I'd never really been into the gas stuff. I have one. I got one. I was going to rebuild it, and buddy Mark took the engine to try and get it running and stuff. And I know he got it running, put it in the truck, got it running. He said it wasn't too bad. But I had said something about the Vintage Nats at Adrenaline. They have an A-scale outdoor track. And Eric had been talking about doing something Saturday night. And I thought, well, get enough guys, maybe do just like a 15-minute gas truck race or something on the outdoor track. We'll see. I don't think I'd have one together by then because I gotta finish up my T2M. My mana ray's done for the most part. I don't gotta do anything to that. I gotta finish the 2-wheel drive car, and Eric added like a Y2K class like we run at the 10 Talk races. So now I gotta decide what 2-wheel drive I want to run on that. And I was thinking about trying to finish up that long arm B3, just kind of throw it together and just get it done and run that. Because I don't see me getting to Insanity anytime soon to test it out. I don't know if I guess it probably wouldn't. I don't know if you'd be allowed to run the gas cars inside there. I mean, they probably do, like, other, probably Supercross or, that kind of stuff indoors. So maybe it wouldn't be that big of a deal. But maybe they would have a thing against running the gas cars inside if there's not enough proper ventilation. I don't know. No, you don't gotta send me anything. And I don't, especially because I wouldn't have anything done in time. Is that I got to finish 3 of my 4 cars. Got to get ready, and there's going to be a stealth car, or the Masami stealth car that's supposed to be here tomorrow. That someone asked me to build for them for Bonets. So I got that to do also. So I'll probably do some videos of that too. Rock and Coop, take whatever you got parts for. That's number 1 rule with vintage racing. You gotta take your own hobby shop. Don't rely on other people to have parts for you. So whatever you got parts for, take those. Or take stuff that someone will have spares for, which is typically associated stuff because it's easier to get. You didn't miss anything. Just rambling at the moment. Figured I'd just wait till we got some guys on here before we start. Well, that's another thing. I usually take like my car. So like I'm gonna take an RC10 World's car for the vintage Nats. And then I'll take probably my kid's World's car. So let's have a complete other World's car there. I got a lot of parts and stuff, but sometimes it's easier to just, depending on what the problem is, it's easier just stealing off another car. Maybe I got to take so much apart. Like if I blow the diff out of it or something like that, I could just take the whole trans out of his and drop it in. Something like that. Yeah, I run the T2M at Vintage Nats. The Vintage Nats is basically the only place you can run min boater stuff anymore. We kind of got away from it. Those of us that talked about it for like the North Carolina race talked about it, and it just kind of seemed the thing to do was just make everything rear motor. It maybe had to build another truck, but what you gonna do? And I don't have any allow mid motors at like any of the 10 Talk races. But honestly, Insanity, that's a rear motor track. I mean, there's zero reason to screw around with a mid motor car there. So I basically just run my T3 everywhere, but like the T3 isn't even legal at vintage nats. So if it wasn't for being able to run that, I'd have to run either the 10T that I just built for the loose race or the loose dirt race we ran in April, or I do kind of have enough stuff to kind of build another T2. Not everything, like just a standard T2. So I'm probably gonna work towards doing that. I had my plan was because I have one of the J Concepts, the AGT mid motor or electric conversion kits for a GT. So I was gonna do that. Well, first I was gonna anodize them all blue, and then all the parts, like the J Concepts parts, were black. So I started building a 10T, the towers, the steering bell crank, thumb screws, and I don't remember why I kind of stopped on that one, but then I ended up starting to rob parts off of it. So once you start robbing parts off of something, it's like they never seem to find their way back. But my plan was to have that one. Yeah, so that 10T, I was going to do a T2, another mid motor T2 actually, but it was going to actually have some of the parts from the EGT, some of the aluminum pieces and stuff, like the battery standoffs, the hold down standoffs and stuff, a couple other things, and then I was going to do the EGT kit, but I haven't done really anything on any of those. So it's like I started racing more, and then everything just started going to the racing shit, and it's like all these other like projects just kind of sit. So should we start with the raffle? I haven't decided on how many tickets I wanted to pull yet, but that's the brandy new with a Hobby Wing ESC, so you're all fucking set. I don't know which one. 1060. I think that's a pretty good one. I think good enough for that, because you need a brushed ESC anyway. I probably have about 5 unfinished trucks. Because technically my T2M is unfinished, but that one's going to be done. Then a 10T, a T2, the EGT. And that's only 3. So that's not that bad. It's only 3. I honestly don't know, because I didn't really race the NRC 10T much, like at all. That was actually, I mean, I've had them before, but I never raced them. Like I never raced stadium truck and any of the off road stuff. And the first stadium truck I raced was that EGT that I built with J Concepts. So I built it, or I got it done, and then raced it at the Vintage Nats in 2018, I think. I think it was 2018. but it was mid motor, and I really didn't. I didn't really hammer on it much. I kind of took it easy on it because I knew it was going to be getting used for pictures for like the ad stuff. Because I know that they did like a blog thing with like the part numbers, pictures of the parts with the part numbers by it and everything. I think that's still up somewhere. But yeah, I was like, I didn't really want to beat it up too much because I knew it was going to be getting photographed and shit. So, and then after I did that one, I was like, well, now I kind of want a stadium truck. So I built the T2M, which was actually, I had actually built as a carpet, like a B15 carpet car, mid motor B15, but I just converted it to a truck. And I raced that pretty much everywhere. And then I had my T3, but I didn't really use it much. And at the time, it was just the Vonats, and then we started racing in North Carolina. And I think the first 2 years, you could run. We were still running like the mid motor trucks. Like they were kind of grandfathered in because we were allowed to do it at the Vintage Nats. But then that got changed. And then I would have had a T2 built, a rear motor, or just a standard T2 built for this past January in North Carolina. But I didn't make it because my wife was still recovering from surgery and shit. So then it was like emergency surgery that kind of set everything back. So she had already had surgery in November and she got an infection and she was in the hospital for a week and she had another emergency surgery and then another 6 weeks of recovery. And I didn't want to be 10 hours away at the time. So I will need to build one for this January or just run the 10T that I built. But they got a rear motor, like a rear motor revival truck class. It's kind of similar to my Y2K classes. And I added a Y2K stadium truck class this year. But the T3 was already like legal for the regular stadium truck class for my races. The year cutoff was a little different down there. But I could have run my T3 in that class. So I wasn't out any truck. But if Vonats would go to no mid motor, then I have to build a truck or run that 10T. But yeah, I know I hear a lot of guys say that the T2 is better, probably because of the trans, because there's a 260 trans compared to the 225. Because the front end's the same, the wheelbase and all that stuff is really the same. There's a little bit of suspension geometry difference in the back, but I know I hear a lot of guys like the T2 better. So take that for whatever it is. All right, I figured we'd probably pull. So they got all the names in the bowl, old timer style. So I think I'll just pull 10. Sometimes I pull 10, sometimes I pull 20. What do you think? I'll see what you guys say. I'll stay on a while no matter what, so it's not dragging anything out. So you let me know. Pull 10 tickets or pull 20. Well, we got a couple of those in. who's all going to the AE race. It 10's have it. I was kind of figuring 10. I think 10's good. So we'll start pulling. All right, the first unlucky one. Battle track. I should probably do something for my ass to keep track. Yeah, I can't go to that. Way too far. And I was saying, when I go to freaking vintage races, I take so much crap. Way more than I need. But if I don't take it, I'll need it. Rad. The format here is I'm just pulling 10 tickets and the 10th one wins. We don't do like there's 20 spots for whatever. We just open it up for the whole month, and you can every $5 donation to the site, the forum, gets you one chance at it. So we'll stop it at the end of the month, and then I print off all the names, and then do this. You want to pay? It would probably be cheaper. It'd probably be cheaper for you if we just bought you one in Australia instead of shipping it over. Joseph S. Because I was thinking about that, because I remember it was like when you won that 10T was like $100 or whatever to ship the freaking thing to you. Techninsburg, JW Scad, Joe. I'm probably going to do. I don't really like doing the raffles because I don't like having guys spending tons of money and shit. But for those that don't know, about I want to say like maybe a month ago, give or take, we had like a kind of like a glitch on the form where we weren't able to load pictures and stuff, and we got in touch with our hosting place, and they're like, "Oh, you're on. You must have been like getting grandfathered in on this old server, and we're moving it all. We're moving everything to these new fancy servers and faster and this and that and everything else, but it also costs twice as much. So we're probably gonna have to do more of these to help. Just guys are always willing to donate and without expecting anything. So it's like, there's a way we can keep do raffles so that way when guys are donating, at least they got a chance to get something for their donation. It just sucks because we got to buy something, and then whatever we take in has to cover that, plus cover now the server fees that are twice as much as they were before. So a lot of times there's not even enough left to buy something else to do it again. So, and some are better than others. Like this one for the manta ray wasn't really all that great. I get it. It's kind of hard to drop a bunch of money to try and win a kit that you can just go buy for $125. Oops, that's too many names right here. So, but usually you do better with the higher dollar stuff for like the more specialty kind of stuff, but you got to pay for that. So this is like, but we do have some. I was offered quite a few things for free to donate. So probably going to be taking that offer up shortly. Damn, I don't want to look at. I looked at it by accident. Little obscura. Well, I tried getting a super astute for this instead of the manta ray kit, and when I went to do it, they were no longer on sale that during July 4th. So I was like, shit, I don't want to pay $2 something for one now because they were like $150. And I know a whole bunch of guys bought them. Like you got one, and a whole bunch of other guys bought them. And I was like, shit. And so I was like, well, you know what? Screw it. I was getting a manta ray because they're super popular with the classic classes, like the vintage nats, and it's like it's really pretty much the car to have for that classic plastic chassis, classic plastic chassis, and in the vintage nats, we don't separate two-wheel drive and four-wheel drive, so that gets run with back to back. The other places were starting to split them up. But the manta ray is freaking awesome. That's an awesome car. Because I have one. I actually won mine. It was like one of the main prizes at the 2018 Vintage Nats. And I happened to win one. And like I ended up buying like ball diffs for them. Or ball diffs, the lightweight prop shaft, the aluminum adjustable motor mount. I put all B6 heavy-duty ball studs, ball cups, titanium turnbuckles, clamping, aluminum wheel hexes and stuff. But that was it. I didn't put like fancy shocks or universals or anything like that. And the freaking car's been awesome. I just before the race at Hoosier, I put a GPM aluminum bell crank in it. And I took the car there, but I ended up not racing it. So it was like I was already running like three classes. I was running Yeah, I ran the Revival Stadium truck with my T3. I ran two-wheel drive with my B2 for the prototype B2. I ran my B3 in the rear motor Revival two-wheel drive, and I ran my BC3 in the with the modern 21 independent class. So it was like I already had enough. I already had enough shit going on. It was like I didn't need a fifth class. Oh my goodness! Back to back to back. Truth be told, Nick had the most tickets in there out of anybody by kind of a lot. So yeah, Nick's doing a lot of stuff. How many is that? Yeah, it's 7. 3 more. Oops. Radioactivity. Yeah, Nick does a nice job with this stuff. From Bob Stormer. He was passing them out at the Hoosier race. Hillbound one. All right. Yeah, it was enough to do that, but it's not like enough to. We gotta. Jeff's gonna help us out with some freebies, so we don't keep. So we're good, but we're not gonna have anything to go buying something to raffle off. So Jeff's gonna hook us up with some stuff, and we'll raffle that. We'll raffle that stuff off. Oh, this is the last one. All right. I don't know why it seemed like I was lagging a little bit. All right. We're done mixing. But I mixed enough. Franken truck. All right, keep that to the side so remember who won. Franken truck got it. Congrats. I actually already have your address because I just sent you something last week. So I don't know if he's watching this, but I'll hit him up on the. I'll hit him up on the forum. Yeah, thanks everyone for donating. Listen, some of them the main reason I went with this is because it was kind of cheap. It was cheap, but they're solid cars. And with vintage nuts coming up, I thought, hey, if someone won it or somebody that went to Vintage Nats, if they got it, it's a good car. I said they freaking they get around good. So I mean, I don't know if I go throwing a 8.5 or something in it, but I don't know. I might even put I might maybe willing to put a 13.5 in mine and see what happened. You know, as long as you weren't really hammering on a throttle, you know, on landings and shit, it'd probably be okay. I mean, I think a 6.5 in that is probably better than an 8.5 in a Tamiya. Listen, you know, I'm sure, you know, if you just went fast with it, but weren't really hammering on it, it would probably last okay. But yeah, but I figured it was cheap. It would kind of get us going with um, the raffles again. Um, Listen, I hoped it would have been a little bit better, but you know, it is what it is. I mean, I'm not, you know, some are going to be good, some are going to be bad. You know, like we did one of Jeff's 10.4.1 kits. That was like really good, or it did really good. So, but I figured, yeah, with Vintage Nats coming up, maybe someone go in there, wins it, and they'd have enough time to kind of throw it together and get it out on a track and have some fun with it. I'm sure someone will run brushed. We had at the Roostapalooza race in April, Mark Westerfield ran a trying to I'm trying to remember what motor he had in there, but it was a brushed stock motor. I think he had like a Tekin 411P or something in there in his 10T, and he won. Now, I don't know. I mean, there's motor limits there, but I mean, it's 10.5. I think it was 10.5 the motor limit. So I mean, I don't know if you could run. I don't know if they would let you just run whatever brush motor you want. Like if you wanted to put like some 10 triple or some, you know, something like that in your car. Although, you know, if you can get a 10.5 to hook up, it'd probably be faster, if I had to guess. I don't know if I got any. Oh, hang on. See the set screw in the catcher block? It's all backwards right there. And there's that's a 30 degree. So like the higher you go where you're laying it back, the more meat you have on the bottom. So, or that's actually a 25, and that's the main reason why I wanted to save that, because I got a lot of 30s, but I didn't have a whole lot of 25s. So that's a 25s on that. So I was like, why? There's nothing wrong with them other than just being a little loose. So zip. that'll last me another friggin' 5 years. The amount of time I drive it. Brushed his open motor there. I'm not going, so I'm not really paying attention to a lot of the stuff with it, like the particulars. Trying to see if I missed anyone else. Yeah, the Ultima did pretty good. It's just now we're trying to compensate for the doubling of the server fees. That's really what a lot of this problem is now. I'm probably not going to get any fan stuff or any fan kits, mainly because I don't need it. I don't like. I have an actual composite craft World's car with actual RPM parts on it, so it's like I don't need to buy like a copy of it. I got now. I have a graphite team car, but it's like my original graphite team car from I got it in 92. I got it, and that's been a dirt oval car, an oval car ever since. Like I literally took shit out of the box, chopped like 5/8 of an inch off the rear tower, dropped it, put the front shocks on the back, bought 56s to put up front, and the Andy's oval rear body mount and all that stuff. So dyed all the shit black right away. So yeah, that that car was never a buggy. And the bottom of the chassis shows that it was never a buggy because the only spot that it's wore is like at the base of the kick up on the right side from dropping a nose going into the corners. Yeah, so I don't really need, and they got the B3 stuff. Was like I got a shitload of B3 stuff, and kind of not a shitload, but I got more than enough B3 stuff. I got more than enough B2 stuff. I may end up getting some of their B4 stuff possibly, but I don't really see me really racing a B4. I have one. Brendan had given me one like 2 years ago. He said it was too nice for him to bash, so he's like, "Here you go, do something with it." And it's like, okay, well, it was too nice for him to bash. It's like I almost feel bad running it, but it's a 4.1. It's a gear diff, so it was like the RTR. So it's the blue shocks and stuff on it. So I was gonna put like the team shocks on it, universal or CVAs in the back, and get it to run like the Y2K classes really. But then Rona sent me a friggin' RB10, just like he must have just had it around. He's like, here, do something with it. So he was like, okay, well now I got this friggin' RB10, and it'd be easier to get parts for the RB10 than it would be the B4.1. So I was like, okay, I'll just race that. So now this 4.1 just kind of sitting there again. So I have some of the like extra B4 stuff I have. It's not even really a lot, but it's like I got like a set of graphite arms and some other stuff because I had bought an SC10 to convert into a drag car. And you basically just use the SC10, just take all the arms off and then put the B4 arms on and that kind of shit because you need the wheelbase, but it needs to be a little narrower for the drag body. So I was going to build a drag car out of that, like a 13.5 class drag car, but that just never happened. And then I started robbing the SC10 of the trans and shit. So I put the gear diff trans, the 260 gear diff that was in that, in a B15. I stole the shocks off it for my T2M, but now I put big bores on that because I've had this new set of big bores laying around, and I was going to put them on that 10T that I was going to build. So I was kind of saving them for that. And then I started robbing parts off of that one. So it was like, well, you know. And then I bought a lot of stuff from a guy. And he threw a bunch of these spring big bore 12 millimeter big bore spring sets in. So there's 3 of them. So there's like a medium rear, a medium front, and a heavy front. So I was like, okay, well, at least I got like the heavy ones are, they do me no good running like kind of looser dirt stuff. But I was like, well, at least I got options. And I was getting tired of these V2 RTR shocks being on the T2M. So I was like, screw it. I'm just going to put the big bores on it. So I got those on. The other week I got them on. Oops, throwing shit around. So, yeah, it feels pretty good. I mean, I like the way the truck worked with those. I really didn't have a problem with it at all. But I was like, I don't know, I needed to change something. I actually, it seems to work better on like the track up in, let's see, when did I build this? I think 2020, my first race with this. I think 2020 might have been my first race with this. So you're racing up at RC Excitement in Massachusetts. And it was pretty much a slick tire track. They weren't gluing yet at the time. But it was like octagons, basically. So I ran there. So it was 2020 and 21. And then and 22. And then 23. No, 22, they started gluing. They started like trying out glues and stuff. And there was like a big sweeper as you came on the straightaway. So all they did was glue the sweeper. And the rest of it was just high bite clay. And then we went up there for last year we were at Adrenaline. So 23, they went like full glue. And I think I was on Smoothie 2s. I think the Smoothie 2s came out or by that point. And it was fine. But even at the North Carolina track, super high bite clay. Just real like North Carolina clay. And it worked really freaking good down there too. But last year running at Adrenaline, it wasn't bad, but it just never felt like it got down in the track. My buggy was awesome, the man array was awesome, but the truck just kind of felt on top of the track the whole time. So, and which is weird because I ran that. So that was 24, so September 24. And I had gone to the INS race at Adrenaline May of 23, and everyone was on slicks right away. So like I was on Silver Smoothie 2s on the buggy, and I had octagons for the truck. And had a 13.5 in it, and it was freaking awesome. I played around with the front shocks. Like it was a little heavier on the front shock oil, but other than that, I didn't change a thing, and it was just and it was awesome. And like Cole Tyler at the race, Cole Tyler was ripping around with it, and he's like, "Man, this thing's freaking awesome." I was like, "I know." So I mean, it was in. I think most of the pros that were kind of up there, because they were all kind of hanging around after the race, and they're like, "Hey, Jay, can I try it?" And I was like, "Yeah, go ahead." So I think Brock Champlin drove it, Rona drove it, Lee Setzer drove it, and Cole drove it. There was someone else up there, but I can't think of who it was. Could have been Dustin Evans. Dustin Evans might have drove it too. But yeah, Cole was freaking flying with it. And so going back there the following year on basically, the same track, it kind of surprised me that it had gone from, silver smoothies to now we're running like green ellipses and electrons and dirt webs and stuff like that. But the track eventually got to a point where I was on green octagons. I was on green octagons by third round. Track grooved up pretty well. And I ran, octagons in the main. My buggy was really good. My RC10 was really good. But the truck, the whole week, I qualified in the A. It was like 8th or something in the A. So it was like I kind of just snuck in. But I think I finished like last because it was just kind of skating around. I couldn't like lay the throttle down, and it was just tiptoeing everywhere. So I'm hoping, I don't know if the big bores will make that much of a difference. But maybe I'll work on my. All right, see you later, Jerry. Maybe I'll work on the tire package a little bit. Different sauces or something. Because I think I was using the FDJ green. The green FDJ sauce, I think. Red and green. I was kind of going between those two. I think the green was a little stronger than the red. No, I don't got a B5, but I have an RB10, and it's kind of like. Oh no, actually no, I do have a B5. Technically, that's a fan car. I forgot about that. So when Jason sent me that RB10, he sent me a B5 that years ago, before right now, like in the last couple months, he had made. I don't remember how many he made, but I know he made at least one white B5s or all white B5s, and Jason got one. And I remember him having it, and I remember fans selling it. But this was like before Fan RC. I was just, Cheng was selling it. And but yeah, when he sent that RB10, he sent me that too. He's like, "Hey, do something with it," And I was like, "Oh, that's cool." I mean, I don't think I'd ever race it, but I could finish it up because it was. I had to put shocks and stuff on it, but for the most part, it's all together. Or he had taken it apart, but I put it back together, and just needed shocks. But the white shock parts were missing, like spring cups and rod ends and that kind of stuff. And I wasn't even sure if he actually made them the first time around. So Yeah. Well, I got to deal with FDJ, kind of, sort of. So that's why I was running that. Because before that, I was running like SXT, like 3.0, pretty much everywhere. um, so, yeah, so I got that and put it together. And it's just sitting in one of my uh, boxes, or my, like, I have under bed, like the under bed storage boxes. You can fit like 4 cars in them, just, side by side, and they stack really nice on the shelf. So I got a bunch of those, just, with cars and shit in them. So, sitting in one of those, and then I saw. I don't remember how it. I'm trying to remember how it happened, but that L&L models or whatever started posting about this, B5 kit, and I don't remember if they posted a picture of a white one, or if I just posted a picture of the one I have, about it being a white one. I don't remember exactly how it played out. But then Jeff went and asked them about getting a white one. So now they're making white ones. So it's like, oh shit. Well, now I don't feel as special now. So I pretty much lost lost interest in that one too. So that's another one I'll just sit around. Well, at this point, I might as well just run it. Yeah. So I had no B5M, but I got the B3s, the B2s, B3s, one B4.1, that white B5, and an RB10. No B6s or 7s or anything like that. The next Roost Palooza will be next April. Hopefully towards the end of April this time. Was maybe even May. I don't even know. I don't know if we can kind of push it off till like the first week of May, but it'll probably be like. Well, we're gonna have an October race, but it's like the Roost Palooza is a loose dirt race. Um, yeah. Well, that's all fan stuff, because fan somehow has the molds for all that stuff. The Thunder Tiger molds. So yeah, he had the molds and then made that white one that I have, that Jason had bought from him years ago. And then now they start making black ones from L&L. And then Jeff says something about white ones. So now they're going to offer white ones too. I heard something about the molds, but I don't know if it's. I've come to my own conclusion about it, but I'm not going to say anything. I ain't going to say anything on video about what I feel about everything I've heard. So I'll just leave that at that. But so, but I mean, it's cool. I mean, I was like, nah, shit. I don't think there's many out there. It's all white B5s. Well, now there'll be a whole bunch. Well, maybe not a whole bunch, but to be more than the one that I know of. So, uh, now the next video will probably be Oh, the unfinished ones? No, I don't even really care about that one. There's a I got enough to choose. I got enough to choose from. So got a clip flat car that's been sitting there almost done for God, I probably started on that 12 years ago. It's been a while. And that one's like really close. I mean, I have uh I know I'm missing I don't have a speed control for that. Or the servo, but the servo is kind of hard because it was kind of like it was like a prototype kind of Airtronics servo. So I don't even think like you can't even really get it. So all you can do is like find one that's close to it. But even that, I've kind of changed my um, plan for it. Originally, I bought it. It was a kind of a hammered B stamp, like an early B stamp, uh, championship edition, gold tub, white parts on it, but it had stealth in it. But it was pretty beat, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do like like a 1990 Cliff let uh, Roarnats build out of this, and I'm not gonna spend like a shitload of time on it. I'll just make it pretty decent, and I'll run it at the Vintage Nats. So that was kind of my goal with it. But then like all the re-release World Cars and shit came out. There's literally like 11 of them here, like 11 or 12 of them here. So I had, I'm actually down to my last built one that because I was building them and I was building it and using them for like the Vintage Nats. So like I'd build it. However, I've done videos on the majority of them. Like build them up, race them, retire them so they're done. I don't run them again. Um, but I've had this Mark Pavidis replica like in queue, like waiting its turn for like 4 years now. And as much as I kind of don't want to run a World's Car this year because my freaking B2s are like, or my B2 is just fucking awesome. And it's like to go there and know I would do a shit ton better with my B2 than at RC10, but still run the RC10 because that's what I built it for. It's kind of annoying, but I don't really care. I care how I do, but I don't care how I do. It's like I really just want to build what I want to build, race it. Hopefully, I do well with it, and like my Masami car last year, the one that I ran, that car was fast. I had like one of the top 3 fastest laps in 2-wheel drive. Or actually, no, I don't think it was the whole thing. I don't think we were faster than 4-wheel drive. But it was like the 3rd fastest lap total, like all of the 2-wheel drive cars I had in the main. And I was in the B main, I qualified second in the B, but the top 11 of us all had 16 laps. And it's like unheard of at the Vintage Nats. And like for years, it was like you'd have like 3 guys that were at like 20 laps, and you'd have 2 guys that ran 19, and then another couple guys that ran 18, and so there was a big discrepancy, right? And man, last year everyone was just on it. So I mean, 11 guys were all running 16 laps. It was like a 16 let's say, and my buddy Mark was like he was 11th at like a 16,520 or something like that, because they were like 21. 21 was like the fast lap. Anyone that got into 21s was like, holy shit. So, yeah, and then I just made too many mistakes in the B, but I turned like the first 21. It was like a 21.9 in the main with the car. I mean, it was just flying, but I made too many mistakes or little bobbles and shit, and then I'd overcompensate by pushing too hard and make a couple more. So I was a couple seconds back to make the bump, and then a couple other guys in the A ran like low or high 21s, like 21.9s, 21.8. So I mean, the cars can do it. It's just like, for example, and this is where it all comes down to driver and like why pros are pros. So we get done racing, and so Lee Setzer's there, and he had asked somehow wanting to try driving it, and I was like, well, I don't got any batteries up tomorrow or up anymore, but tomorrow morning I'll get the car ready and you can take it out. So got tires all sauced up, put a battery in it, and so the track's like not even like ready to go. We're just practicing, and he's turning consistent laps a second faster than everyone in with my car. So just hitting his marks is, he's a pro driver. So a lot of it's the driver. So like I can have like a super good lap, but too many average ones or below average ones. But the B2 is faster. So like the car is faster, and because it's faster, it kind of makes up. You don't got to push as hard, right, to like get a good lap in. So like if I had ran my B2 last year, maybe I would have qualified, eighth, ninth, or sixth, seventh, eighth, because it's just a faster car. So, but we'll see. Well, I've been putting you can pretty much just look at all the like back videos. Eventually, everything that I have is going to have a video done of it. So, and I don't have like my basement. You can kind of it's a dungeon down here, and there's just all kinds of crap. And I'm hoping eventually I want to clear out the whole front end of my workbench. Used to be against that front end, and I started like doing something with it, and then just nothing ever happened with it. So my goal is to clean up the whole front end of the basement, and then that's where I'll put up some showcases so I can display my cars, because like right now, almost everything, if it's a car that it's either like a shelf queen or a car that I raced and is retired, they're all in like underbed totes, just stacked in underbed totes, no wheels or tires on them. So just I got to dig out all the wheels. I got to dig out all the wheels and tires for a particular car. I want to take it outside to do a video of it. But a lot of what I have is already like I've already done videos on it. So there's if I do videos consistently, it's probably not going to take all that long to go through the rest of it. And that's kind of one reason why I used to split it up so much, but it's like that whole YouTube algorithm shit. It's like if you don't like consistently put videos out, you can just tell that. And I mean, we're not monetized or anything like that, so it doesn't really matter. But you can just tell if you don't consistently put videos out, the viewership isn't the same. So, how many tires do I got? I tell you what, I honestly don't really have. I mean, I do, but I really don't have a ton. Like I got all the like the vintage nats, right? Being as though I build a car for the vintage nats, I'll figure out or find out what tire is the most popular tire to use up there, and I'll mount those up, and that's it. Now I do have, like last year they said green ellipses were like the kind of popular tire, so I mounted up green ellipses on a car, and but I have like dirt webs just sitting for whatever, for any car. I got octagons to use for any car. So I started off with the ellipses first round. Second round, I went to the dirt webs. Third round, I was on octagons, and in the main, I stayed on the octagons. So when I go to display the car, it'll go with the ellipses that I originally started the race on. Mainly because like it had certain wheel dots, because it was a Masami replica the last 3 years. So I didn't want to mount up 3 different sets of tires on wheels, so they were all the same wheels, and then have all these kind of weird wheels for other cars. So, but I mean, you do need to have a good amount of tires, because especially if you like, we'll go down to North Carolina. The World War C in North Carolina was a slick tire track. Hoosier was a slick tire track. Adrenaline, it kind of goes to a slick tire track, but you need a treaded tire to get to that point. Insanity, that's like sprinters, green sprinters or double D's. You can get down to a bar tire, like if track grooves up pretty well, you can get to like a dirt web or even an ellipse. I ran for the fall brawl last year at Insanity. I think I put ellipses on in the main, and they were pretty good. I think I missed some questions here. I think I kind of answered Pete's. Yeah, nothing's really out. Most of the stuff is just kind of put away just to stay clean. The only stuff that's really out is the stuff that I race weekly. They're not weekly, but like locally. And to be honest, they've been turning into my travel cars too, travel race cars. But yeah, for the most part, I have videos of all of them. How many vintage cars do I actually? I got a lot. I mean, I don't. Obviously, 50 is an easy number, but I mean, like, I literally have like 11 Worlds re-release cars. Just those. I got. I mean, if you and you have to break, and then like, how do you want to break it down? Do you want to go by cars that are complete, or like cars that are, I'm already like gathering, because like I got boxes of parts Like I have the Grand Prix 3D 89 stealth kit. Well, I already got that box, but I got wheels in there, tires in there, a servo, speed control, uh, some of the other parts that you need to complete it. So it's like, yeah, it's not a vintage car, but it will be. Um, Same with B15 stuff. I got like 2 boxes over there with brand new T2 chassis sets, uh, buggy nose plates, wheels, all the plastics, bearings, even electronics. But they're not, they're not built. So there's like a lot of that. Um, there's two. Well, I think I did a video of that. I got two. I have one World's Riri left in the box. I had to dip into I had to dip into it a little bit for parts. Um, and then I have like 70% of another new World's Riri kit. Um, yeah, so I got that stuff. I think I mentioned some of the other stuff I had in my video yesterday. There's a lot of crap. Just try and do something with all of it, but I wish my basement was freaking nice enough to just like, well, some of my laptop too, so I'm not gonna carry a laptop around. But if I was on my phone, it'd be nice if I had like a really nice basement, finished, and I could just walk around. I mean, there's a lot of stuff on the shelves over there, but everything is just it's just a basement in a 93-year-old house. So surprised it even has a concrete floor in it, to be perfectly honest. Yeah, I typically run sprinters there. I glued up last year. Over the winter, I got a set of rehabs because I wanted to try them there. Figure like once um, it seemed like I went there a lot more last year than I did this year. Like even just to go on a Saturday or Sunday and practice, but you could see every time I went that the track got better. I mean, it got more character, but grip wise, groove wise, it got better every time. So you could, like when I was first starting to go there, it was like double D's, a little bit more of a pin, more spread apart. Um, and I was like, sprinters are going to be fine. And sprinters are a good overall tire, especially overall tire for there, because as long as you like in practice, like even for the my vintage shootout race in June, when I glued up those rehabs, you could tell that the sprinters got through the looser stuff, like during practice when you're not blowing off in between rounds and that shit. It was definitely better then. But during the race, you're blowing off every round. And I had the rehabs on my B2, and it was hooked up pretty well. Little bit of a push until the front end kind of softened up a little bit, but yeah, they're good, and that's why I think like at our race in October. By then, I mean the track's gonna be a little beat up, but a bar type shouldn't really be out of the question, especially like later on in the day. I don't have a Columbia wife, no. She's Pennsylvania Dutch. And I think Pennsylvania Dutch and Irish, I think. She's good with the RC stuff, though. It's like, I always hear, I know a lot of guys, they joke about, it's more of a joke about their wives. Like, oh, yeah, I can't tell her what I pay for this and whatnot. And, I always joke, man, you guys got to find better wives. But, yeah, I'm just joking. But, we started dating junior year of high school. And I was already racing RCs. Like, I think our second date was a freaking RC track. So, she's known how this was going to go since 1993 or 94. When we started dating, 93. So she knew it was coming, or it wasn't going to get any better. But yeah, she's all right with it. And I don't, for many years, I made the hobby pay for the hobby, right? So I would go to hobby shops and I would go through their back room, buy out all kinds of old stock, sell it, get my investment back in it, plus have stuff to use for your trades or stuff from, to finish up my own builds. It's harder these days because most of the old hobby shops there aren't as many around anymore. And once the vintage stuff got kind of more popular, it started to become slim pickings. So I kind of stopped doing that. But that's why I have so much. Like a lot of guys, there's a lot of guys think that I got money, and I don't. I'm freaking paycheck to paycheck. But I got started with the vintage stuff early on, and actually, I mean, I was doing vintage stuff before it was vintage, mainly because I didn't have the money to like be upgrading to the newest Kranzel's Terminator, oval car, or the newest Custom Works car and all that stuff. I was milking my freaking RC10 with a Rayborn chassis for all it was worth, But yeah, I mean, and even when I stopped racing weekly, I never stopped playing with my stuff. So, and like I said, I still have my team car from when I got it. I still have my Rayborn RC10. I got my Midnight Pumpkin that I got when I was 10. The Parma Sport Truck when I was 11, I think. My Tyco Turbo Hopper sprint car that I got when I was like 8. I still have that. So I still have a lot of stuff even from when I was younger. So yeah, I was always playing with the stuff. It just became like once RC10 Talk started in 06, then it became more of a community thing. So now you're talking with guys in England and Australia and France, and it was just like I thought it was crazy how like Cedric in France. I was like, how the fuck's this guy got all this vintage RC10 shit? He's in France, but he has like tons of crap. But yeah, I was never not into the vintage stuff. It's just in 06 when 10 Talk started. Really, the only other vintage place was like Tamaya Club, Tamaya Club. that was really the only other like vintage based forum. And then RC10 Talk started and spawned the vintage off road nats. That's really what spawned the vintage racing in the U.S. because there was none of it. So it's like, everything shit happens for a reason. It's kind of weird. It's like, RC10 Talk starts, Eric Riker joins, and he's done work and worked for RC Car Action and RC Driver, and so he has industry. He knows people in the industry, and he could get magazine coverage and door prizes and all kinds of stuff. And like 2 years later, 2.5 years after 10 Talk started, Vintage Nat started, and it's been going ever since. Yeah, I have a turbo hopper too. Actually, I have a Sears Lobo. It's up at my parents' house in a box. My turbo hopper is up in the same box, and then turbo outlaw sprint car is over there on the shelf. And that one, it was before the 9.6 V. There were chargeable batteries, and so it has the 8 AA's. And something happened to the circuit board kind of early on, but it was like after the time that you could really return it. So it just, never did anything with it. But I thought about a couple times of using like some, I don't know. I don't really know what Tyco like motor sizes and stuff are, but I'd always wondered if I could use like some electronics and everything from some kind of a, whatever, some kind of an RTR car, and put a speed control in it and all that, and actually just use it like a normal RC car. I don't think I could get a. There's really nowhere to put a shorty pack in it, though. I could probably use a single saddle pack, like one cell of a saddle pack, and put it up in where all the AA's were, and just run it on a 1S. I run my band cars on 1S, and they go pretty quick. Yeah, I don't know what Losey's deal was. I mean, they totally missed the boat with that 16th scale shit. It was like to go through all that trouble and they make the shit 16th scale. It was like the dumbest shit ever. I gotta say, the comment with the kit tires, worked really well at Insanity for our Roost Palooza race. Like my buddy Mark has one of the 4-wheel drive kits, and he's wondering what tires are running. I was like, just run the kit tires, and then it worked really good. So, and when I got the Kinwald kit, it has the same rear tires that the 4-wheel drive kit came with. And I was like, well, I know where the tires from the Kinwald kit are getting used at. Yeah, but they made a decision to remake the JRX2 and the JRXT 16th scale. So they drew it up, made all those molds, and like it would have been so smart to just make that shit 10 scale right off the bat and make kits. So this RTR is like just terrible. Way too much RTR. Yeah, and it's stupid. I mean, they're just watching all these people go broke buying AE, Yokomo, Kyosho, Schumacher kits, and they're just sitting there, just not making any money. Yeah, if they were smart right off the bat, double X and just be done with it. If they would just make a double X and support it parts wise, it'd be like the smartest thing to do. Because that's the one to race. If you're going to run a low C, you might as well run a double X. There's zero reason to fuck with any of the other ones. Hell, even I'm kind of looking for a double X. I don't want to race it though, because I don't want to buy. I don't want to. I got enough cars to buy parts for, and I'm not paying. I had a nice lot of low-C shit for like the JRX2 T Pro Pro SC. I had a nice amount of stuff, and I was like, I ain't gonna buy any more fucking low-C shit. Just sold it all, one big lot, gone. And then Grand Prix 3D comes out with that 91 low-C kit. I was like, so now I'm gonna be hunting. Well, I got a Pro SC. My buddy Vin down in Australia, he because international shipping is a pain in the ass. It's expensive. Like if you're buying stuff off of eBay, you gotta pay the whatever their international thing is, and it's expensive as shit. So if you're gonna be buying a package of whatever, a pack of hub carriers or 10 hub carriers, you pay $10 for it. Well, till you ship it down there, it might cost $20 to ship that one $10 package, right? So he sends everything to me for like a year, whatever. And then when I start to get kind of overrun with his stuff, I pack up big ass boxes and send them. Because it's cheaper just having people send something from eBay to me, and even though it's going to cost them a lot of money to send it a lot of stuff at once, it's still cheaper than sending one thing, buying one item and then shipping it, buying another item and ship it to Australia. So I've been doing that for a few years. So, and he thinks it's not a big deal. I don't really care about doing it at all. It's not, I don't mind packaging stuff up, and I don't mind the stuff staying here. But he wants to compensate me, So he actually got me the 89 car or the 89 kit, the Grand Prix 3D kit. And then when the low-C one came out, he got me that one too. And he found me then he sent me like a pretty decent Pro SC to use as like a parts car. I was like, dude, you gotta stop sending me shit. It's like, I got no problem doing this stuff. The race in October will probably be the last weekend again, like last year. So it'd be like the last races of the season for Insanity. So probably like the very last weekend. So hopefully it's not super cold. It actually wasn't too bad last year. Like Saturday for practice was kind of rough, but Sunday wasn't too bad. But yes. And Brian asked me when everyone had left after the vintage shootout in June, me and him were just there talking, and he brought up about, he goes, "What do you think about? Do you want to do another loose dirt race in October, like the last race?" Because when at the end of the year, he basically just pulls up all the pipe and just pushes all the dirt over to one side of the barn. So he thought, he could kind of just go around and chop it all up, make it loose like it was in April, and do it again. And I was like, well, I don't know. It's like I kind of like that. I don't think I want to do it all the time, right? I think once a year is kind of cool because he can come up with an idea. It actually kind of works out better for him um, if you kind of look at it from the standpoint of he needs to come up with a track layout, some kind of track design, and he thinks about it all winter. So he can put the track in, compact it a little bit, and then put more loose stuff on it, lay the pipes out, and we get to kind of test what the track will be when it's hard packed, like sugared and hard packed down. So I think it kind of works out better. And we probably still would have done that. We probably still would have ended up having another loose dirt race in April, but I didn't want two of them. So I thought, I'd rather have. It's fun, but I don't think I want to do it all the time. And I really like running. I like Insanity. Number one, it's indoors, so it's great. You don't got to worry about it raining and shit. But yeah, it's just you really got to drive the place. Kind of take care of your stuff, but it's just fun. Yeah, I was hoping to get to. I've been wanting to do Camp Series races, but it just never works out. And it's like, and now this month, like I thought about coming today, but I got so much crap to get ready for the Vintage Nats next month. Like I said, there's the stealth car is going to be here tomorrow, and I got to build that for a guide for the Vintage Nats. Take it with me. So I got to finish up my shit, build that, and it was like, and I had to cut my grass today. So I wanted to go to pit stop yesterday because it was so nice out, but didn't happen yesterday. Yeah, the Insanity by the time October rolls around, there'll be more potholes and like that kind of stuff. But that's where it's just character. I mean, it's easy to drive around on smooth ass tracks, but even though like the track still has grip, even though it's like just potholes and pop marks everywhere, there's still grip. And so you can still go fast. But if you go like sailing down that straightaway, going into the 180, come back the opposite direction, that gets all bumpy in there. Right. So if you pick the wrong line under braking, it's going to send your car all different places. It's hard to really run like a consistent hit your marks kind of lap there. And that's what I like about it. It's a little unpredictable, but it's still fast. That's why I like it so much. Yeah, I think even Traxxas, I think, is kind of missing the boat. Yeah, I think it'd be smart for them to do a TRX1. Or even whatever car back then that shares like the same parts as like the Bandit, like the arms and arm mounts and stuff. Because I know some of the stuff is still like interchangeable. Use the TRX3. Yeah, they should do a TRX3 And then that way there's not like as much of an investment. Jeff from Factory Works, he makes a kit to kind of make your Bandit look like a TRX3. He has an upper lower chassis, and I actually have a TRX3 over there. It's for Vin in Australia. I thought about doing a video on that, but it's like I don't, because they're kind of rare. You don't really see them a whole lot. But I thought about doing a video of it, but it's like I don't really know enough about it to kind of talk about it intelligently. I say and whatever already too much about shit I do know. So I'd be like in the shit out of that video. But Ronaldo did a video on one he has, a Dr. Mosfet, years ago. And I watched that. I watched that the other day when I thought about doing a video of it. I watched his and was like, man, there's a lot of stuff on that. Like the caster or the anti-squat shims under the rear arm mounts and shit to change your anti-squat, all kind of stuff. And yeah, I don't think I could do a good enough do a video good enough to really do it. But I thought about it, and I still might. I mean, it's probably going to be here a little while longer because it's just something different. Because, like I said in some of my other videos, it's like I'm gonna run out of stuff to do videos on eventually, and I don't have the money to just be. I can't buy something. I'm not going to buy something just for content if I don't really want it and don't plan on keeping it. There was a couple times I thought about doing like I got a couple B2s that I thought about building up, totally outfitting them and racing them at like Insane, like one of my races at Insanity or something like that, and then raffle it off like as I took it off the track, so it's basically ready to go for whoever gets it. I thought about doing that, and there all the money goes to the forum, that kind of shit. Australia, I was saying earlier, the Australia has a lot of vintage stuff. There's a lot of vintage RC stuff down in Australia. But UK is about the same. But yeah, there's definitely a lot of Trexes, TRX1s and shit like that down in down in Australia. So let me go grab it. Just TRX3. Yeah, it needs to be gone over, but it's not too bad. It has black on it. I think was it the TXR3? It came with black arms also, or something. So it had like white and black arms. I think Ronaldo said, or maybe I read on the forum or something like that. But yeah, I think if Traxxas was going to come out with one, they should just come out with this. Start making some kits again. I remember it was the TCP. Was it the Traxxas TCP that came with like white and black arms? Maybe it was that one. It came after this. Yeah, I think that's what I read. But so I don't know exactly which arms these are. But the there is white. There's a whole Ziploc bag full of parts from this over there, and I think there's a Blue Eagle. I don't think it's an LS. It could be in it, like two Blue Eagle LSs over there. Also, he got it like in a lot buy, so I think he got this and then the two trucks. I had a Blue Eagle LS2 in '94. I'm not sure about the TCP being black parts. I kind of thought that was white parts, but it came with black, like a set of black arms. I don't know if they were a different material or something, but I could be wrong. It was just something I kind of quickly read. Um, so I was at the hobby shop and I had my 10 LSS. We had a showcase, and on the bottom we had like for consignment stuff, like people want to put their old batteries or whatever to sell inside the hobby shop. And I put my 10 LSS in there, and the kid I happened to go to school with before when I was living in Catasauqua before I moved to Northampton. He came to the hobby shop the one day, and I hadn't seen him in a couple of years. So we were talking, and he was interested in my 10 LSS, but he didn't really have money for it. And he's like, I got this Traxxas Blue Eagle LS2. He goes, I haven't even driven it. He goes, me and my dad put it together, and I haven't even driven it. I was like, I don't know, go home and get it, and I'll take a look at it. So went home, brought it up. I was like, okay, that's kind of cool. And so I was like, yeah, I'll trade you. And at the time, we were kind of going into, it was like later in the year. And in the wintertime, we would race inside like fire halls on the hardwood floors. And we run like on the buggies and stuff. We'd run the 2-row cat spikes, Schumacher cat spikes, the big ones, on all four corners. So you run the yoke adapt, the wide yoke adapters on the back, really for your sedan, skinny front wheels, and the skinny Schumachers all the way around on the buggies. On the trucks, typically run like the Pro line, Pro 50s and 40s. But anyway, so I held on the truck for a little bit, but never did anything with it. But we were getting close to indoor season. And there was a father and son that always raced indoor with us. They didn't run outdoor, but they raced inside. I think the son did other sports, during nicer months. So we go. It was either the first week or the second week, and I had the truck with me, and I wasn't planning on really racing it. I still had the kit tires, the ribs up front, and whatever was on the back. Some kind of, they're probably similar to this, I think. Actually, these are flat stubbies, but they're kind of similar to that were on the back. And they were a little light for the truck class. So I was like, oh, I'll run it. Why not? Right. So, and I don't remember what electronics I put in it. Could have been like a Novak, like a T1X, like an older Novak or something, and just whatever I had. and I went out. I won like both the heats. Uh, so TQ'd, won both the heats, started on the pole, and won by like 5 laps. So after the race, the father comes up. He's like, "Hey, that truck works pretty good when you want to sell it." I was like, "Yeah, I'll sell it." So I sold it right there for like $200 or something. It's like as it sat, even with the electronics and stuff in it, it was like $200 or something. And here again, that's another thing where, hey, just because it's fast when I drive it doesn't mean it's gonna be fast when you drive it. And it was never really, they never really did anything with it, but they could see that it was capable of doing well. They just they weren't. I think it was more like something a father and son were doing, right? And they weren't really hardcore racers, but they liked the Traxxas stuff. So when I was out there doing really good with the Traxxas, you know, he kind of wanted it. So I think I ended up buying a. I think I sold that. I bought a used Enforcer sprint car, Custom Works direct drive Enforcer sprint car with it for the following outdoor season. I don't know exactly when Michael's car is getting released. I feel like I remember him saying. I remember him mentioning something about the release, but I don't think he said exactly when it was going to be. Yeah, I really want one of those cars, but I know I ain't gonna have the money for it. They ain't gonna be cheap. They're not gonna be cheap at all, especially if everything's in it. Like if he has those 10 built ones. I don't know I don't even know how many he's making. I don't know if he's offering kits that you have to buy like the rest of the stuff. So you got to buy the shocks, you got to buy the trans, you got to buy all that shit, and all you get is his chassis, his bulkheads, his arm mounts, and anything that he has to make or modify. So like the rear arms, they run the kind of like the gull wing 10T arms on it, and he mills the bottoms flat in the back. I mean, it still kind of drops down a little bit, but for the most part, they're flat. So I would, is it going to be something like that where you get everything that's specific to that car, everything that's like an OEM piece that he needs to machine, so he does that, and then you got to outfit the rest of it. That's probably going to be the only way I'd be able to afford it, and because I got I'll bastardize something for a trans or shocks. It's like I got enough RC10s. I don't need all of them. So I got no problem gutting one to finish that off. Even though I think a car like that requires or deserves all new stuff, all new parts. He's in Colorado. He can still come if he wants to. Yeah, he's going to be in Vegas like 2 weeks before my race. And I really can't afford a Vegas race anyway. It's just there's just no fucking way. But even If it wasn't for like, I think I would put more effort into it if Vonats wasn't the month before and my race wasn't going to be 2 weeks after. This is a lot of money. I mean, even going to the Vintage Nats, it's only like 3 hours away, but you're still, you're still getting an Airbnb with a couple other guys. 100, $150 to $200 for entry fees. Yeah. But at least that's for 4 classes. It's not $150 for fucking one class. I mean, I kind of get it, but not me. You thought what was hand built? Well, okay, I see. The Michael Collar. I don't know. I don't know if because he's done projects before, like the what was the one that he I can't remember what he called it, but it was like his interpretation of the 91 stealth car, right? But he built it with a 6 gear and like shorter front shocks and stuff, but it was still kind of like a stealth car. It wasn't, but he sold it as like a kit. It wasn't the whole car. I'm kind of unsure how these are because it makes it seem like they're being sold as done cars. So I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't really. Obviously, it would be cheaper to be able to just buy a kit for it. But yeah, I haven't heard anything about how he's handling it. I mean, you have to assume the 91 car's coming. I mean, to do the 89 car and not do that one, it'd be kind of, I don't want to say dumb, but, to do the one and not the other doesn't really make sense. I almost think, to be honest, I actually think it might come before. I wouldn't doubt that that I'd almost think they'd probably want guys to have it before the vintage race, the AE race. I mean, they're already shipping guys are already getting the 89 car. So, and the only other thing that they introduced was that crawler and that 28 scale car. So, I don't think it's out of the question to really start seeing them dropping hints about the 91 stealth car. If it's coming, I would almost expect them to do it sooner than later. I thought about getting one of the Grand Prix 3D 91 kits, just because of, especially after I got the 89 and the Losi kit, but I already have a Nix 91 that isn't done. So it's like that'll be on another misfit video. Because I've had that one. I started that in probably 2015 also, if I had to guess. That thing's been sitting so long. The red dye on the trans case is starting to bleach out, and it doesn't even get sunlight. Yeah, I don't really pay attention to any of that 20. Like if it ain't 10 scale, I don't even really give a shit. It's like all that, Now, if I was into running like modern stuff and I needed to go race and I wanted to go race somewhere, there's a place about an hour from me that runs like mini Z's, and they got a pretty, nice size track. So if I was into running mini Z's or something like that, yeah, I would be into that RC28, but I'm not. So, so that none of that shit does anything for me. There really isn't much of anything modern that does anything for me. Like it really needs, like some of the or they really have to be unique for me to like be like, oh, I gotta get one of those. Like some of the dirt oval cars that Dynotech made with the motor that went in from the top, and it used the centrifugal force of the motor to help rotate the car through the corners. It's pretty cool. I can't think of it. I don't remember what that's called. Boomerang, I think. He was called Boomerang. the Vegas car actually that car is kind of intriguing a little bit to me because there's a lot of world's parts on it. The Nick's car was graphite. There were a couple. So like Nick's was the first with the 91 cars, and then Fred Swain and Justin Myers worked on one. It ended up being called like Justin, who Justin is it was called like the Reborn 91. So there's his carbon. The Grand Prix 3D one is carbon, and I would have to assume that if Associated comes out with it, it'll probably be aluminum like the 89 car. No, but anyway, the Las Vegas car is a little intriguing because there's a lot of world stuff on there, like world's re-release shit. The towers, steering belt crank, the wide axles. It looks like it has B4 front wheels. It has the updated trans that comes in a Kimball car. Well, it's the same trans that was in the 2014 World's kit. It just had the V2 clutch and not the Octalock, but same case with and all the case and the idler gear are different between the old style and that one. Other than that, that's it. It's basically just the normal Stealth. The gear is fixed on the shaft on the idler gear, and the bearings are in the case. And the re-release one, the updated one, it was more like a B2, B4, B3, B4, where it has the shaft in the case, and then the bearings go in the gear. And you can't take, so like the Stealth case has the I don't have a full one here, but the normal stealth case has a separate standoffs. So you can flip them to either side, and you can pop the cover off, so you can flip it around and run mid motor really easy and all that shit. The updated trans, they're already molded in on the trans case, so you can't. And this side, I mean, you could easily open that side, but it's harder to use that trans for like a mid motor than it is to use the normal one. Or that same, same top shaft, same diff gear, out drives, all that shit. The only thing that's different is the case and the idler gear. Other than that, it's all the same. But it has world's shock towers, the world's bell crank, the world's trans, basically, the wide axles, and the D4 wheels. And it's like, it started making me think, okay, are they going to come out with another world's car now? I mean, to be honest, I'd rather than not do it. But yeah, and and that's the other thing. And then they use like the BK battery brace, the BK trans brace, the 89 rear tires they used. I don't remember what. Oh, and then they put the Protect body on it for some stupid fucking reason. I mean, I get it, but they could have put a Viper on it or something. It's too racy. It's like too racy of a car with all that stuff on it to go put a Protect body on it. And there was something else. There was something else with it. Maybe not. But yeah, it's kind of like a. And then I think they used the shocks from did they use the same gold from? I know there was something different about the shock. Like it's a gold chassis, but they used that like metallic gold on the shocks or something. I'd have to read the list again. I don't hate it. I think like I don't really mind it with the gold tub. But the shocks, it's like, dude, just put the fucking team shocks on it. It's like, come on. You're already trying to make it like more of a race car. Put the hard coated shot, the team shocks on it. Yeah, I mean, if they're gonna have a special kit, especially for the people that are attending, and they get like $100 discount or something for it. Yeah, it needs to be something. And like I said, for the most part, I like it. It's like I have, I kind of like the later CEs with the all black parts with the gold chassis. But it's like, man, just put the team shocks on it. It's kind of like how the world's re-release, they put the V2 shocks on it with the the threaded V2 shocks, had the V2 clutch. It was, I think they were, and I think like they even, I think I kind of remember Cliff even making the comment of, and a lot of it, they were, I mean, Curtis is a member of the forum, and a couple other guys from Associated. So, we were doing a lot of that stuff, because it was hard to find wheels back then. So we were running the GT wide axles with B4 wheels on the front, and having to run. That's where the whole reason that what's old is new thing came along. It's because you couldn't find wheels. So figured out a way to basically convert the whole ass end of the car with off-the-shelf parts so you can run B4 wheels, and it's the correct offset and everything. That's like that's the one thing I miss a lot about the early days of the vintage stuff, because everyone's just coming out with shit now, and it's already figured out for you. It's like there's like no creativity in like anything anymore. Everyone's just buying shit and throwing cars together. And I like to tinker. I like trying to make shit work. Stuff that's not supposed to work together, I like trying to make it work. It's like this one. And this is really a tip to Michael for his car. I did a video on this, but I had wanted to put truck arms on an RC10 for the longest time. I think when I talked about when I did a video of this car, but for the longest time I wanted to try and put 10T arms on an RC10 because of something I seen in a magazine, and I just could never get it. I just never made the jump to do it. And then when Michael started posting videos of that car, I was like, shit. I kind of forgot I wanted to do something with that. So then I'm just down here trying to figure out, okay, what can I use that it would kind of just like drop on? So I'm not really having to like hack something up. And then I just started, I grabbed the truck arms and just started like laying them, just like, put this car upside down, and I set the arm there, see how far it's going to move the hub, take a measurement, then measure the back spacing on the wheel, and see if I'm going to push the hub out 10 millimeters, is the wheel going to bring it back in 10 millimeters? Because I don't want the car any wider than it would be stock. And like, that's like my whole goal when it comes to like shit like that. So, then I just, you get the back together, and it's like, okay, so you got a longer arm, you're pushing the hub out, oops, and then the wheel comes back in. Okay, well, now you just need a dog bone to fit the distance, and then the B4 worked. So it's all off the shelf stuff with a little bit of like modifications, and they're on there. With B6, B6, B7 wheels. And it's same width as a stock B3. And then on the front, the 10T arms are a lot wider in here than the B3 and the T3. So I got a bunch of braces stacked there. But the 10T arms, or like these are the T2 arms, they're like 8 millimeters wider than the B2 arms. Yeah, than the B2 arms. They're like 8 millimeters wider than a B2 arm. The offset between a B4 wheel and the B3 wheels is like 5 millimeters. That's why we'd always run the wide axles with B4 wheels on the RC10, because it's like a 5 millimeter axle out, 5 millimeter wheel in. So the wheelbase stays the same, or the track width stays the same. Well, the B3 knuckle, because the B3 and the B2 and the B3 are the same width, but they made the arms an 1/8 inch longer. So they brought the hubs, or the axle and the caster block, in an 1/8 inch. Well, it's like 3 millimeters. So this arm is 8 millimeters wider. The wheel goes in 5 millimeters, and then the B3 caster block and shit goes in another 3. Well, there's your 8 millimeters. So it all just, it's going to put the wheels right where they need to be. So I love when shit just kind of falls together. But I didn't drive it yet. Eric added a Y2K class, like I run at Insanity. And I was planning on just trying to get this together for Insanity. But then he added that, and I was like, I was just going to run my B3. I was like, you know what? I should just, I mean, it's really not that, like, the back end is really done. It's mainly just putting the shocks on it and all the shocks on the front. I really just need ball cups and turnbuckles. And I'll grab a body and I mean, I could use this B2 body or whatever, but if I don't feel like painting one, but if I get another B3 body, I'll paint that up quick. So I might run this in the Y2K at the Vintage Nats. So I gotta try sometime. So I might as well. And if it doesn't work, I'll just run my B3. And that thing rips. Yeah, I gotta make a bumper for it. So it'll come out farther. And if you notice on like if you look at the videos of Michael's car, look how wide his bulkhead is to fit those truck arms on a buggy. It looks totally out of place, just like this. Like from the front, it's hard to see, but look how far forward. It's like almost in line. So it's like you come off a jump wrong, the arms are just gonna dig right in. So I have to be really careful downsiding the jumps properly. But I think it should work. I mean, you know, it's not a huge change between a stock B3, but you can tell it's a little more plush. I think it's going to work pretty good. Put some ponies in it, and just let it rip. I think the track deal could be the area that they had to play with. I think the 85 track was a little on the smaller side compared to like the 91 track. Even the 87 track, I think, was kind of small, like looking back at videos. But like the 85 track was, I mean, yes and no. But I think they're just trying to pick something that will lay out properly in there, if I had to guess. Or it's more of a nostalgia thing. Well, the mill tub, that's kind of what I was talking about with the Las Vegas car. There's a lot of world stuff on there. So it almost makes you think like they're going to put out another Worlds car. Just weird. Like it makes no sense that they would put that stuff on there now, on that car, unless they just did it just so that it's different. But to even use the wide axle, like I don't know, I don't understand the use of the wide axles at all. The only reason for doing that is because they wanted 2.2 wheels, because none of the other wheels that they've made so far are 2.2. They're all the 2.1s, like the TQ wheels. So, and they probably still have the molds and shit for those wheels. So they use. I mean, I won't care. It'll be nice. It'll be nice having more uh, bearing before wheel options, at least for the front. But nowadays um, you can use the hex, the B6, B7 hex wheels on the back of a B4. Yeah, I think the offset's a little different, but you can still get away with that. It's the front that's the hard part, really. Oh yeah. Um, yeah, I don't. I mean, like I said, it's when I saw the list of parts, like the world's arms or the world shock towers and that kind of shit, I was like starting to think like a world's car is coming. It's totally possible. I mean, they have apparently they got all the parts. So now it's just a matter of doing a mill chassis. I'm curious about if they'll do. Someone else was talking about on the Facebook group about seeing a listing for a fluorescent red buggy nose plate. So I mean, even if they just did red, that'd be cool. Still, better than just having black and gold chassis to go with. I didn't really care about any of that until I lost my anno guy. Once I lost my anno guy, I was like, shit. I'm living the black and gold life. It was like I started a car, threw all my shit in a box. Hey, do this stuff purple. Hey, do this shit blue. Not no more. Yeah. So like back in 2020, a guy started doing uh, try to get some vintage races going at pit stop, and that's when I started going down. And we were trying to do like not like a point series thing, but we're trying to do like at least like one race a month. And they had like trophy races. It was like the first Saturday of every month. They were trophy races. So we would add a vintage class to the trophy races. And did it for a couple of years. I think it was 2020. Yeah, I think 2020 was the first year I started going down there. We did it in 21. And then that guy stopped coming around, so I kind of like took it over and tried to get more guys coming in. It was just getting to the point where you weren't really getting a lot of guys. Not to really have a vintage class. So I would just, you just knew when you went down there, you're just going to run against the modern cars, which I didn't, I never cared about. Don't bother me any. And then the owner sold the track last year, and a new guy took over. And I think he's like kind of wanting to get, some vintage stuff going down there. Just the last 2 years, well, really like the last year and a half has just sucked for me. Not so much for me, but the household. So, like, trying to get down there and even really having the money to be spending to go down and race and everything is like. So I basically just kind of focused on doing the big races, saving my money to go to North Carolina or the Hoosier race out in Indiana. But I know they were talking about it even the other day. Someone on the Pit Stop Racer page had mentioned something. Hey, can we get some vintage guys down there? I want to run my B3. And my buddy Mark's like, we'll just run it with the modern stuff. He goes, I've been running my B4 against the modern stuff. I want to run my B3 against other vintage stuff. And yesterday it was like really nice out. Like I should have just got my ass up and gone. But I think a B2 is going to show up because that would make sense also. Insanity's an hour and a half for me, but Pit Stop's an hour and a half for me. I'm like right in the middle. It's like I either go south west for Pit Stop or northeast for Insanity. And same with Critters. I used to go to Critters quite a bit too. Because I had an RC10 Talk race at Critters in 2019. Toby Hampson helped set that up with me. Or for me. And ran it. And then we were going to do one in 2020. And it was going to be in March. And fucking COVID screwed that up. Because everything got shut down. And then it just never happened again. And then I found out about I didn't know anything about Insanity until like April of last year. And then I just started going and then talking with Brian, and he was all up. Because all I have is vintage shit. So I go there, and if I race, I'm racing my vintage shit against modern stuff. And I think they were surprised at how well I did against the modern stuff. And and I said something to Brian about. I said, hey, this would be a good place to run some vintage races. And I said I could probably get a decent amount of guys here to do it. So he's like, yeah, let's do it. So that's where the Fall Brawl came from last year. So if everyone keep doing like at least minimum of 2 events there a year, that'll be good. And my buddy Mark got in a Astute, and I don't remember everything I don't know how much he hopped it up because he bought one when A-Bane was July 4th. I don't remember everything that he did to it, but it seems to boogie pretty good. But I mean, he ain't gonna race. I don't think he's gonna race it. He ain't taking it to vintage Nats or anything like that because it doesn't fit into any class. I mean, you're running a 2-wheel drive, you're gonna get stomped. I'm sorry. And it's a year too new to run, and we don't even run the heritage class in at the vintage Nats. So like, you have to wait until January, basically January, to race it in North Carolina. But it's a year too new, so I can't even race it there. So it's kind of like a car that, you just buy it because you want it, and run it because you want to. But we're doing 3 vintage races this year. Roostapalooza, vintage shootout, and we'll have the fall brawl. I was bummed at Roostapalooza. So we go to Hoosier, and so we go to Hoosier in March, and I had known. So like J Concepts came out with the new step paddle tires and the new carvers for the skinny truck wheels and the carvers for the 2-wheel drive buggies. And I knew I'd known they were coming out. So the whole time I've been basically talking about this loose dirt race with Brian all winter because we had talked about it before I even left the track from the fall brawl last year. So like all winter we've been talking about this race or this potential loose dirt race. And Jason started showing me those tires. So we go to Hoosier, and he has a table set up, and he has 2 10Ts there. One with the wide 10T body, one with the team narrow body, and then one with a full set of paddles with Pioneer wheels, and another with a full set of Pioneer wheels, but with skinny fronts. So Jason told me to take the wheels and tires off of the skinny ones and the step paddles off. Well, I think it was the gray one that was sitting there. The gray one, whichever one's used for like the ads and stuff. I think it had the gray body. He goes, take those before you leave. And with everything going on, like trying to pack up after the race, I think we went like a little longer than everyone had planned. So everyone was kind of rushing around and stuff. And I forgot to grab them. And so we get home. I said something about I think on the way home, I had messaged Jason because I didn't see him after I left again. And I was like, I forgot to take those tires. He's like, yeah. I said, well, when I get home, I'll remind you, and you send them up. So he told the Mac or whoever works there to package them up and send them to me because he had to go to Australia for the warm-up race, the world's warm-up race. And that Mac dude never sent them. And those were the tires I was planning on running on my 10T at Roostapalooza, and they never showed. So I'm like, I have no I really had no tires to race on anything at Roostapalooza. I borrowed tires from my buddy Mark for the truck, or maybe I got them from Joe. I don't even know what they were. Some kind of old Team Losi tire or something. I just needed something because I didn't have anything, especially truck wise. The only thing I had was sprinters and slicks, and there was no way that was going to work there. And the hell did I run on my? I don't remember what I ran on my 2-wheel drive. But yeah, these new step paddles and carvers that are out now, I was supposed to have them for the Roostapalooza race, so I would have been able to try them out. But now they're available now, so everyone will have them for the AE race. Yeah, that's not my department. I get enough people probably tell them about that. I never noticed that with the wing buttons till you showed that problem. I always just hear my buddy Mark fucking give me shit about missing set screws. I want to go to the the hell is that? The Hobbyplex in Nebraska. I really want to go there. I mean, it's a big place for one, but I think just that being up so high, the driver stand, and then how far out you're looking, and it's not glued. It's just dirt. I mean, they might put sugar or something in there, but they're not, they don't got a jetpack on their back gluing the fucking track down. Yeah, every now I kind of follow. I'm not sure if I'm subscribed to it, but when Alex does like your who's the dude that he does the podcast with? It's on the tip of my tongue, but I can't think of his name. He has the glasses. I'll watch their live streams or podcasts and stuff. Because every now and then he'll talk about the vintage stuff, or I'll bring up like the vintage stuff. But yeah, I want to get there someday. Because it looks like a cool place to race. Yeah, I didn't get to travel a lot when I was younger and racing. Pretty much just stayed, for the most part, local because there were so many tracks you could race like 4 nights a week. I raced four nights a week when I was a teenager. There was always somewhere to race around here, so I didn't really have to go far. And then, I had a kid when I was a senior in high school, so that kept me close to home without a lot of money. So I didn't get to travel a whole lot. So it's kind of cool doing it now, even though it's still not a lot. But it was like, wow, I'm gonna go to. I mean, I traveled more racing slot cars than I ever did racing RC cars. I go to Ohio and race slot cars, Maryland, New York, that 124 scale stuff. But RC, I basically just. There were a couple in Jersey, like right in Phillipsburg. There was a what was the name of that place? Trioval Raceway, right in Phillipsburg. And I'm basically like just west of Phillipsburg, so 22, go right across the Free Bridge, and you're in Petersburg. CRCRC was a place I wanted to do a vintage race at, like in like '08 or 2009, 10, around there. Because the one guy um, that raced with us at the first Vintage Nats, he came to, I think, the second one too, but I wasn't there for that, so I'm not totally sure. But he was at the first one. He won two-wheel drive the first one, Tim Covell. I think CRCRC was his kind of home track. And he probably could have, facilitated something back in that time, but it just didn't happen. I don't know if there's any. I haven't heard anything about another vintage clash. I think it sounds like it's going to be more of a every other year kind of thing, every 3 year, something like that. I think it took. I mean, they really went hard on that one for a long time. So I think they just need a break. And I think the same thing's going to happen with the associated race. They're going to be doing all these podcasts and live streams and this and that and everything else. I think once it's over, they're going to kind of need a break. But it almost sounded like the associated guys were like it was going to be a every year thing. Like they're trying to maybe do something every year. I don't know. I think that's a lot of. That's a lot to like money wise, like for people to actually do. That's not going to be that's going to be an expensive trip. It doesn't seem like actually. It doesn't seem like the hotels are that bad, like the room rates and stuff. Or last when I kind of looked at like what it would be. But the entry fees and I don't know what like food prices are there. I don't know how expensive of a place Vegas is. I've never been there. My wife was there once. She had to fly out there with a friend, and it wasn't like a vacation thing. She needed to go out there for something, and wanted my wife to go with. So my wife went with her, just to keep her company. And at the time, my wife worked at the Sands Hotel in Bethlehem, so they were able to get like a good room rate or whatever at some hotel out in Vegas. So they didn't really have to spend a whole lot for hotel stuff. But yeah, it seems like they're kind of talking of it being more of a every 2 or 3 year kind of race for Hoosier. And honestly, I don't know if I would go back. I mean, I like the place. Like, it's an awesome facility and everything. I just do not like that surface. Like, it's like you're walking on. It's like walking on a drag strip. Like, it's like you're waiting to lose your shoe when you step on a track. Like for me, the best for me, and that's the thing. Like we don't have tracks like that around here. Like the closest thing to what Hoosier was is Mimi's, the track in Maryland, where they just had the vintage race last weekend or 2 weekends ago. They glued there too, but it's not like that. It wasn't like it was almost egregiously sticky. And I have no way to test for that. I was like, I ran that race at Mimi's last March, last March or April, we had a race there. And I was like, okay, it's glue track. And I mean, I didn't do too bad there. I did better as the stickiness kind of went away. Because like I don't. I think I ran my B2, a B3, my B2, my B3, and my T3, and I think I qualified 8. Like I broke both my buggies broke. My B3 broke before the fucking race even started, and I was just so pissed off I didn't even try fixing it. And then my B3 freaking ball cup broke on the first lap. I just like touched the pipe and broke brand new ball cup and broke the cup in half. So I was done. So I was already pissed by the time the truck mate came up, and I qualified 8th, and it really wasn't all that great leading up to it. It was just trying to get used to that grip level, right? And I was just traction rolling and everything. So, but by the time the stadium truck A main was last, and by that time it was starting to like kind of dust off a little bit, and the grip level wasn't there. Well, then my truck was like, it was money then, and I ended up finishing second. It was like a second off the leader. Like the top 3 of us were battling like the whole race. Like none of us wanted to lead. Like every time one of us got a lead, we freaking screw up, hand it over to the next guy. It was the whole race. But yeah, the top 3 of us were like a second and a half apart at the end of it. 8-minute main or 6-minute main. But and the same thing at Hoosier. On Saturday, they had we had like a seeding round and then qualifying, one run of qualifiers on Friday. Then Saturday had second and third round. But before racing started, we did the concourse and they did the Brian Dunbar tribute. Everyone was walking all over this track. Oh, and they did the Q&A also. Everyone's walking all over this track. So you got the guys are walking through the infield where there's paint all over the dirt that's in there. It's getting on their shoes, tracking it all over the glue on the track surface, and it's making it slick. So I go a second round. The second round was my best round of all 4 cars. And then they're like, okay, we're going to take a break. And they've come out the fucking the sprayer pack on her back, and they just start hosing the track down with Elmer's glue or whatever the hell they were using, like watered down Elmer's glue. And I was like, oh my God. It was like the worst. And then, because I didn't make the A main and anything, on Sunday, the only people that were allowed to practice were the guys that made the A, that qualified in the A. So I got no practice on Sunday morning before the mains, and the track was even worse because they re-glued it after the third round was done the day before. Oh, it was awful. I mean, some guys like that. Some guys are into it. If you have to drive on that or race on that, or if you get to race on that all the time, you're going to get used to it. Totally understand that. I just couldn't get used to it. So all I was doing was breaking my shit and getting frustrated. So if the next time, I'm hoping we're going to start seeing a trend of normalcy, honestly, and I just want to call it normalcy with the 10 scale racing. Not everything got to be loose dirt, but I mean, there's nothing wrong with a freaking blue groove track. Nothing wrong with a bar tire. Actually, there's nothing wrong with the slick. You don't got to glue the shit out of the track. But I'm hoping, and to be honest, I think it's going to start trending towards. I think it's going to start trending that way, and I'll be happy. I'll be happy about it. Well, you can run one set of tires on a track that isn't glued. You know, you run like North Carolina. That's just clay, just good clay. And you run silver smoothies. You only need one set of tires, or greens. Whatever. You take green ellipses and burn them off. That's all I need. Well, it's been 3 hours. Yeah, it's 20:01. I unfortunately got to work tomorrow. Maybe, unless I feel like staying home. No, I got to work tomorrow. Shit to do. Well, that was the one thing with Hoosier. It's like there's so much grip. It's like running carpet. I almost think that track had more grip than carpet than you would in a carpet track. It's ridiculous. To me, it's like to run. I'm used to running tracks like Insanity, which Pete knows what that is. Outdoor at pit stop. Everyone's sprinters there. You know, I'm a throw the car around kind of driver, right? I'm not like super tight, and a lot of it's because I'm an oval driver, right? I don't hit the brakes. You set the car up, you just roll off throttle a little bit, and you're setting the car up to turn. You're not on the brakes. You're not trying to jump. You're trying to jump shit. You're just trying to hit your marks. And and all the racing I did was foam tire, right? So you had a lot of grip, but it wasn't like rubber tire grip, right? And I've even mentioned it to Jason a few times that I want to mount up some foam on buggy wheels because I think foams would kick ass at World of RC. And then we ran at Hoosier, I was like, holy shit. I mean, if you can't hook up with foam tires there, you can't hook up with foam tires fucking anywhere. All right, see you later. Yeah, I'm gonna get off. It's already been on 3 hours, so call it a night. Hopefully that Masami car gets here tomorrow, and I start building that. I guess I don't really want to do an unboxing video because so many guys do unboxing videos. Just I don't want to do one also. So I'll probably just do it. Do a couple episodes of the build. Take a little bit of time with it. Thankfully, I don't got to screw around too much with the body. Just shoot a green and throw the stickers on it because I hate painting. I hate doing it anymore. But all right, I'm gonna head off or turn this off. Big thanks for everyone that donated for the raffle. And I don't know if we'll have one due this month. Maybe a short one this month. See what happens. But yeah, thanks for hanging out. Talk to you guys later.